Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Tuesday and it is August 23rd. We have one meeting to tell you about today, and that'll be at 9:30 this morning, and that is the third Resident Policy and Compliance Committee meeting that will be in the boardroom as well as virtual. Now on our show today, we have our Director Spotlight, and we are featuring Kurt Wyman, who is the Director of Landscaping Services. So he's going to tell us all about what he does and some of the great things about all of the fantastic trees that we have here in the village. And then we have Advanced Ear Care with Stuart Spencer. All right, let's take a look at our weather. Well, we are burning off our fog quickly here, but we are looking at pleasant temperatures in the 80s this whole week, so not too hot. Take a look at these numbers. We have 84.71, 86.70, 85.68, 84.67, and then cooler 79.68. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:19. Our sunset will be at 7:28. And thank you, Lori, for sending in this picture of the Rhine River and a castle up top. Very cool. If you have a photo that you would like to share with us, we will be collecting these photos through the end of August. So please email them to lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure that they are your own and they are a high resolution photo, and we are still looking for destinations of vacations. So you can email those all in. All right, when we come back, we will have Kurt Wyman and our Director Spotlight, so stick around.
.4M Dental Implant Center wants to give you something to smile about. Get our next generation one-day implants with the best deal we've ever offered. Take $2,500 off, plus an exam, CT scan, and x-rays for free. That's a $4,000 value. Our next generation implants are stronger and more natural looking than anything else available. See the difference with a free virtual consultation. Call 800-4M Dental now to leave your embarrassing teeth in the past with our special offer.
Your smile again with 4M.
We are the first light after a cancer diagnosis.
The illuminated entry point to life-saving cancer therapies and novel treatments
often sought by the rest of the world.
We are a dedicated team of more than 400 physicians
and 1,000 scientists and researchers.
We are cancer-focused, but human-centric.
We are thousands of breakthrough discoveries.
We are where cancer stops.
And life keeps on getting lived.
The future of cancer treatment is here.
When a loved one requires ongoing assistance and attention, home-related care and caregiving become viable alternatives to an existence dependent upon hospitalization. Your home care provides thoughtful general care and assistance with the basic necessities of daily living, all within familiar surroundings.
Hello, I'm Kyle Warner, and I would love to talk to you about how we can help with your home care needs. Call me today.
Welcome to Balbina's Mexican Restaurant. Stop by and experience the most authentic Mexican food in the region. We are serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We have a very extensive Mexican wine list from Valle de Guadalupe and the Centro of Mexico. Visit us for breakfast and lunch from 8 in the morning to 2 p.m. and for dinner from 5 to 9 p.m. Stop by on Wednesdays and enjoy with half off on all of our wines.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have our Director Spotlight with Kurt Wyman. Well, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we know you're a very busy job, and maintaining all of our landscaping, so water and trees and grass and everything that's involved in the village. But before we get into all of the details of your position, just tell me a little bit about yourself, how long you've been here, and then maybe what your background was.
Sure. I've been here actually 5 years last week.
Oh, wow. Okay. Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And before that, I've spent 34 years in the public environment, working mostly in public works departments, doing everything from maintenance to construction.
Okay.
and some administration work too.
Okay. So was that something that you had always wanted to get into? I mean, are you a horticulturist, or what's your education?
My education is actually administrative.
Okay.
I have a degree from UCI in business management.
Oh, okay.
But my passion is public service. I've been in public service my entire life.
Right.
I work for a charity on my off time. It's just kind of what I do. I like being there for people and helping people and making their lives better.
Well, and you certainly have your work cut out for you here in the village, because there's so much land and greenery, and everything looks so beautiful. And then we had been talking about how many different kinds of trees there are too. But of course, all of that needs water. And here we are looking at a terrible drought that's coming up. What are some of the challenges that you're going to deal with?
A lot of challenges we have. Unfortunately, this community, as gorgeous as it is, was planted years ago without any knowledge that there would be a drought coming. Mm-hmm. That wasn't even in anybody's mind. So the landscaping here was not designed for a drought environment. Mm-hmm. It's very lush. As you look around us, the picture behind you is so very lush here, and there's a lot of grass.
Right.
And grass consumes a lot of water. So we're all going to have to start rethinking what our landscaping looks like. Mm-hmm. It can still look green, it can still look beautiful, it just can't be what it is now. We have a lot of tropical things here that just aren't going to survive in a drought.
Right, exactly. And you have been making modifications along the way where you can. I mean, I know many people who change out their grass to more of not so much a desert look, because that looks a little bland, but more along drought-tolerant plants, which can be beautiful.
It actually can. We did a pilot project up in Gate 14 off of Calle Oeste a couple of years ago. It's 60,000 square feet, where we took out grass that wasn't really being used. It's what we call non-functional turf. No one walks on it, no one plays on it. And we made it into a park with all native type, water-saving type plant material. We put in some DG walkways, some benches in the shade, and it's actually getting used. You can't go by there almost any time of the day and not see someone sitting out on one of those benches. So
that's nice.
It's not only are we saving water, but we're making better use of the land that we have. We maintain in landscaping over 650 acres of irrigated landscape. Wow. And most of it isn't used. Most of it is just looked at. Yeah. So if we're going to just look at it, there's no sense having turf. Especially with the amount of water that it takes.
Exactly.
So both United and Third Board have dedicated themselves to the drought, to changing the way we landscaping. It's an expensive process. We have some money in the budget this year, and we have some more money in the budget next year for doing these change outs of getting rid of the turf and replacing it with just as eye-pleasing, just as aesthetically pleasing, but not necessarily the tropical look you have here now. Okay,
so what are some ideas that you guys have that you'll be looking at? I mean, I'm assuming you have different concepts.
Yes, we do. We are actually going to do coming up another pilot project in United this time. I brought the location to the United Board yesterday. We'll be bringing on a landscape architect that specializes in drought-tolerant plantings, and she will be doing some renderings for us for the committee to approve, and we'll move forward from there. And Third is taking the same tact next year. Both, those who don't know, both boards have directed me to reduce our irrigation water usage by 15%.
Right.
So El Toro Water District has asked us voluntarily to reduce water use overall by 15%. So we're doing our half in irrigation, and I think residents need to do their half too in reducing their water use.
Now, some of the areas are recyclable water, right?
Yes, most of Third, everything, excuse me, between Santa Maria and El Toro Road is recycled water for irrigation.
Okay, now do you have to cut back on that as well or not?
We don't have to, but we are. In Third, excuse me. In Third, we are, to sort of an equitable thing and a financial thing. It's, as some people have potable water for their grass and some people have recycled, what we're trying to do is be fair. Why would some people get green grass and others not so green?
Gotcha.
Cutting the water by 15% isn't going to have a big effect on the turf.
Right.
It's going to go a little dormant. It's going to look a little brown, but we don't expect it to die.
Right.
We expect it to jump back as the months cool a little bit. We expect it to come back and look a little better.
Right.
So we're being equitable. We're reducing it all across the board. And there's a significant financial savings to that, to the mutuals.
Right.
So the mutuals are going to take their financial savings from reducing the water and use those funds to reduce the turf. So it's a win-win across the board.
Now, I've heard over and over again that we have so many different kinds of trees, and that's, you know, like they've been planted so long ago. That must be a huge task.
Yes, it is. We have over 38,000 trees here in the community, and I know Ross Moore had this dream of 250 different varieties of trees. We have about 226 different varieties of trees here now. Unfortunately, there aren't 226 species of trees that are adapted to a drought, high heat, low water use environment. So the United Landscape Committee yesterday just voted to move forward with it, and it goes before the third Landscape Committee next month, is a long-term urban management plan that we're bringing, urban forest management plan that we're going to bring in that will take into account what we have as a tree stock, what we have as a current environmental conditions, and sort of give us a roadmap down the road on what we need to do to maintain the urban forest here in Laguna Woods Village.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, trees die, that becomes a fire hazard. And if we aren't able to water them as appropriately, then of course you've got a different problem on your hands.
Yes, we are keeping a close eye. I've got 6 arborists on board, and they all are tasked with keeping an eye on the trees. As they're out and about in the village, they're watching the trees for signs of what we call shock. So trees and shrubs will go into a sort of a shock phase where they're, they don't have a brain, but they're like, oh my God, what's happening? Why aren't I getting the nutrients I normally get? And they will start to discolor. So we're keeping an eye on that. And the ones that do start to go into shock, we will install tree rings on. It's a process. It will take several months before the trees actually go into shock, because most of the trees are deep rooted, so it'll take a little while for the reduction in the water to affect them.
Right.
But once we do see the effect, our goal is to keep them all alive as much as we can. So we will divert some of the water that is going to the turf to save the trees.
Now, how does the water shortage, and if this is something that you manage as well, affect the golf course?
Golf course is recycled water.
Okay.
So they don't have to worry about the amount of water that they get. So we have no plans to cut back on the water to the golf course.
Okay, and then you manage the trees that surround or are on the golf course?
No, the golf course is completely managed by recreation.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's an area you don't need to worry about.
No.
Okay, well,
I
thank
have
goodness,
enough,
right?
thank you.
Phew. Is there anything in particular that you would like to let our residents know about, other than the things that you've already mentioned, in regards to our landscaping?
Oh, there's so much. I could go on for days. If you're interested in what goes on in landscape, attend the landscape meetings. We try to make them as informative as possible. We do use them as a method to get messages out to residents. They're all televised. You can get them on Granicus online.
Right.
And we have some very good discussions in them. We're looking at different ways to save water is our big ones, different ways to clean up the landscaping that is out there.
Right.
Both boards just, we started a new crew last year that specializes in just replanting, and both boards have approved that crew for another year, so you will see more revitalization. We're going to go through and take out a lot of these older plants that do require a lot of water, and start planting in more water-wise plants.
Right, and I know you mentioned that you would like the residents to do their part, and we'll be talking a lot about this, I'm sure, going forward with the water companies and other folks who are more interested in water conservation. we've talked to the water company many times about what people can do to reduce water usage. Any thoughts?
Well, as far as landscaping goes, is we are encouraging residents to not water. There's a tendency to, when you're got a slow afternoon, it's very meditative to go out and water, but we're asking residents to not do that because we are intentionally cutting back the irrigation on the plantings, and it doesn't do us any good if you're going to go out and water it yourself.
Oh.
That doesn't accomplish it. So we're also looking at, both boards are looking at restrictions on using hoses to stay in line with the current state mandates. So if you want to water plants, people, I've heard Donna from the Water Conservation Committee talk about this many times. When you're running your water to get the hot water, fill up a watering jug with it and go water with that. That's a great idea. That's a great way you can help the landscaping and help the drought too.
Exactly. Well, I know we all, look at our plants on our patios and we say, oh my gosh, they need to be, fed. But thank goodness the heat isn't here yet. So we've been lucky enough where we haven't had to water more than probably once a week.
Yes, and most plants don't require more than once or twice a week. If they are adapted to our environment, you should focus on planting plants that can get by with less water. They're just as beautiful.
Right.
And so they can generally get by if they're in the shade once a week, if they're out in the sun twice a week, and they will survive.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for the information. I appreciate it. And good job out there. Everything's looking pretty darn good.
Thank you.
All right. If you have any questions about landscaping services or the meetings or maybe volunteering, you can always send an email to generalmanager@vmsinc.org and we will make sure that it gets to the appropriate person. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Well, we have Stuart Spencer here with Advanced Ear Care. Well, welcome. How are you?
Well, nice, Lisa. Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Good. I know you are busy, so we appreciate that you are able to come in here and share with us, always some good information because I think we need to remind ourselves that, hearing we should not take for granted.
Boy, that's for sure. And so many people do. There's so many misconceptions about hearing loss, and I find it so fascinating, just historically, the thread runs through time. The people say, well, I'm hearing just fine. I don't really have a loss. And then we test their hearing and they've lost a substantial amount of hearing. And of course, a gentleman will say this with his wife sitting next to us and she's rolling her eyes like, oh my gosh, he's got hearing loss. And so, we test him and do our word testing and, find out. But, if people are turning up the volume or they're asking people to repeat or, those type of things, they really need to get in and, have it checked. Right. Because once we fix it, they're like, oh my gosh.
Right. Right, they recognize it for sure. Right. And I find it's funny that you have a couple that come in and then the one is rolling the eyes because how many times has she probably repeated herself and said, you need to go have your hearing checked? And he's probably like, no. And I think it's always the men.
No.
Is it always the men or is it the women?
No, it works both ways.
Oh, it does? Yeah. Oh, darn it. Because I always thought maybe it was the guys like, oh, I don't need a hearing aid. Just like I don't need directions.
You're very I know. We always need you to find that parking spot for us, too.
Yes, that's right. That's right. You sent over a chart for us to take a look at, and it talks about various things that are going on with hearing. Tell me a little bit about why you sent that for us.
Well, you know what? It's really navigating this whole hearing spectrum today. There's more and more hearing aids, coming over the counter, more mail order hearing aids, more information. September, there's going to be even more. The FDA will open that up for over the counter. It's going to be a plethora of information. And honestly, we already see people just totally confused. Mm-hmm. These are just some aspects of, what we look at when we really look at managing somebody's hearing loss and helping them to really get the best clarity out of hearing aids and programming them properly. And, there's so many different aspects that go into it. One of the most fascinating things I just love about this business is that everybody is so different. Mm-hmm. That's what's kept this interesting for me for 40 years.
Right.
And so it's just one case at a time. So, most of these companies have a fix-all, oh, just send us the money, we'll send you the hearing aid.
Right.
It just doesn't work. Right. So it's really the professional that comes alongside of them.
Right.
So that's why I sent this. It's just a few different aspects of what we do to really maximize, our patient care.
So why is the FDA approving things that need adjusting or that isn't really going to fix something?
Well, that's a question we've asked them, right? It's, why do you think we should do this? And, really they just wanted to unregulate it. Price of hearing aids are high, and they are, they're expensive to us, right?
Right.
So, they're trying to get that lower end market, where maybe people have little mild hearing losses,
Sure.
where they need something simple and just boost it. And that'll take care of that. Other than that, I just think it's trying to open it up to a free trade type of thing.
I see, because well, like anything, you have lots of different choices with some of the lower end items, but then you're going to waste your money, and that money could have gone towards a payment to some of the better hearing aids that really do work for you.
Yeah, exactly. People go out and, I see it time and time again, they buy, these over-the-counter hearing aids or ready-fit hearing aids, and then they wear them, and then they're not successful. So they think, oh, well, that's how all hearing aids are.
Yeah.
And so it really discourages them sometimes for years until they're, in a much more moderate or severe type of situation. Then they're just desperate, and they come in to get something. It's like, gosh, if I would have had this originally, I would have been so much more satisfied.
Well, exactly. Now, if people do end up buying an over-the-counter hearing aid, will you still help them?
Of course, we'll help everybody, we help everybody with everything that they have. We see all sorts of gadgets come in, these big box things that, I don't even know where they come from. But I said, and people don't know how to put them in. They don't know which end even goes in their ear. Honestly, it's just so overwhelming. We have a lot of custom devices that you're seeing in the background there that, are just made for your particular ear.
Right.
Ears are like fingerprints. They're all different.
Yeah.
Even ear to ear, one side to the other on the same person are different. So, a lot of people say, hey, you know what, when I get in the airplane, I put those earplugs in, I can't get them in my ears. A lot of people, those just don't fit, and it's the same with hearing aids. These things that they offer just don't fit, and let alone the acoustic response or, being way off for them.
Well, even if someone couldn't afford some of the higher end ones, which really, it's expensive because there's so much technology that goes into many of them. But if they couldn't afford one of those, on the lower end scale, though, you still do molds for custom, right?
Oh, yeah. We have a price point for everybody. We have prices that are below Costco's prices. Everybody thinks, oh, well, Costco's the cheapest, And,
it's not always the cheapest.
And so, it's not, there's a lot of variety out there. And we have, excellent hearing aids at low cost. So we fit everybody. We want everybody to get on the air and help everybody to hear better. So.
Perfect. All right, excellent. Now, if somebody wanted more information, where should they go? Obviously, you have a website, and that explains things too?
Yep, just advancedearcare.com.
Okay.
And, a lot of information there. They can call us at, 354-0040. And they can just stop by. People over at Aldi's or, the dollar store, like you always promise you're going to stop by, but you never do.
I know. I just went to the Dollar Tree, too. I do. I know. I just keep saying, I'm going to get in there. I promise.
So they can stop by and see us. We're happy to see everybody.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. And of course, if you have someone that you're nudging to get a hearing aid, make sure that they give Advanced Ear Care a call at 949-354-0040. We'll be right back.
Hearing aids require a lot of attention. Don't underestimate the problems earwax can cause. Come in and see inside your own ear canals to find out how much blockage you have. Debris like earwax can cause up to 45% reduction in amplification. Your hearing aids may be able to be significantly improved to help you hear conversations clearly with a simple office visit. Every day, patients say, oh my gosh, that sounds so much better. Stop in or call us today for a complimentary cleaning and ear inspection. Tell them Stuart sent you.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
Just a few announcements for you. The California Club is having an event, and that is tonight. It is the Primo Barbershop Quartet, Sounds of Bank of Harmony. And if you want more information about that event, you will want to go to the California Club of Laguna Woods Village.com so you can find out all the details. Now, the Comedy Club is having an event as well, and of course, we know Joey Sims is very funny, and she will open her show before Brian Scheel, and that'll be this Thursday at 7 p.m. in Clubhouse 5. She does not require any reservations. You just show up at 7 p.m. on August 25th, and then you can pay at the door, so that should be a load of fun. Now, Symphony on the Go is going to be at the Florence Sylvester Senior Center. It's really a cool idea. They just pull up, they open up their doors, and it is free, and you just bring a chair. You can set it up outside. It'll be right out in front of the Florence Sylvester Senior Center, and that is from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And if you would like to participate, they do ask that you RSVP 949-380-0155. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. As I mentioned, we are looking at warm skies, but not too hot, and by the weekend, we're going to look just a little cooler, so that'll be a welcome relief. 84-71, 86-70, 85-68, 84-67, and 79-68. Have a great day in the Village. We'll be back again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. right here on Village Television. Bye-bye.
Captain America.
Watch HGTV.
Netflix.